They all whispered behind her back, called her strange, spoiled, even broken. But when the new maid walked into that mansion, she saw something no one else did. A little girl who just wanted to dance. No one knew that one simple question, "Will you dance with me?" would change everything, not just for the child, but for the entire family. Rain poured against the glass walls of the enormous Santiago mansion, a place where silence was louder than any storm. The servants moved quickly, avoiding eye contact, whispering only when necessary. No one dared to speak too loud, especially about her, little Isabella Santiago, the CEO's only daughter. Isabella was 8 years old. With chestnut hair always tucked behind her ears and eyes that never seemed to meet anyone's, she moved like a ghost through the house, always clutching a small worn music box. When it played, she would hum softly, lost in a world no one else could see. Her father, Alejandro Santiago, was a man everyone respected and feared. The CEO of Santiago Holdings, he built his empire with discipline and order. But beneath that power was a man shattered by loss. Isabella's mother had died giving birth to her. Since then, he'd buried himself in work, leaving his daughter surrounded by wealth but starved of affection. To everyone else, Isabella was different. The staff whispered, "She doesn't talk, she doesn't look at you, she screams if you touch her." None of them understood autism. None of them tried. They saw only inconvenience. Then came Clara Ramirez, the new maid. She was 26, with kind eyes and a quiet determination that came from hardship. Her life had been no fairy tale, an orphan who had raised her younger brother while working multiple jobs. When she got the call to work for the Santiago family, she thought it was her big break. She didn't know she was stepping into a house built on silence and secrets. On her first day, Clara noticed it immediately. How everyone avoided Isabella's gaze, how meals were left outside her door instead of being shared. When Clara asked why, the head maid replied coldly, "Don't waste your time. The girl doesn't respond. She's not normal." Clara didn't say a word. But that night, as she passed Isabella's door, she heard a soft tune, the music box playing. Then she heard it, a faint sound of bare feet moving on the carpet, a whisper of rhythm. Clara peeked in. Isabella stood in the middle of her room, twirling slowly, her small hands tracing the air like she was following invisible music. The sight broke Clara's heart. She saw not a strange child, but a little girl trying to find peace in her own way. The next morning, Clara greeted Isabella softly. "Good morning, Miss Isabella." No reply. But when Clara smiled and added, "That's a beautiful song you played last night," Isabella froze. Her small hand tightened around the music box. No one ever mentioned her music before. That moment was small, but something changed. Clara could feel it. In the days that followed, Clara watched Isabella more closely. The girl never spoke, rarely looked at anyone, but she responded to patterns. Light, music, gentle tones. So Clara began to hum softly while cleaning, the same tune Isabella's music box played. One evening, when the house was empty, Clara did something bold. She stood outside Isabella's room and whispered, "Would you like to dance with me?" Silence. Clara smiled, turning the music box's key and letting it play. Then she took one step, then another, twirling slowly, deliberately. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw movement. Isabella stepped forward, hesitant, uncertain, then mirrored her motion. Clara's heart swelled. She whispered, "Yes, that's it, dance with me." For the first time, Isabella smiled. From that night on, everything began to change. Quietly, softly, like dawn breaking after a long storm. But not everyone in the mansion was happy about it. Word spread quickly among the staff. The new maid had somehow gotten Isabella to smile, to respond. Some called it a miracle. Others called it trouble. The head maid warned Clara, "Don't get too close. The CEO doesn't like people meddling with his daughter." But Clara didn't stop. Each day, she spent a little more time with Isabella, not talking much, just being present. They drew pictures together, listened to music, and danced in the quiet corners of the house. Isabella began to hum again. Sometimes she even reached out, just to touch Clara's sleeve, or to hand her the music box. Small gestures, but to Clara, they meant everything. One afternoon, Alejandro came home early. As he entered the grand hall, he froze. There, under the soft sunlight, his daughter was spinning slowly, laughing soundlessly as Clara clapped along. It was the first time he'd seen joy on Isabella's face since her mother died. But instead of warmth, anger filled him. "What are you doing?" he barked. The music stopped. Isabella froze, terror in her eyes. Clara bowed her head. "Sir, we were just..." "Enough!" Alejandro snapped. "You are not here to entertain her. You are here to work. Leave her alone." That night, Clara was ordered to stay away from Isabella. She spent hours in her small room, staring at the walls, torn between fear and heartbreak. But the image of Isabella's trembling hands haunted her. The next morning, she found the music box outside her door. It was Isabella's way of saying, "Please don't go." That was the moment Clara decided she wouldn't give up. Not on a child who had already been abandoned too many times. Days later, Alejandro returned home from a meeting to find chaos. Isabella had gone missing. Panic spread through the mansion. He ordered the guards to search everywhere, shouting for his daughter's name, but got no answer. Then he heard music. From the empty ballroom, the place where his late wife once loved to dance. He ran inside and stopped dead. Clara was there, kneeling on the floor, holding the music box while Isabella swayed gently beside her. "She wanted to dance," Clara whispered. "Here." With her mom's song. Alejandro's heart broke. He hadn't been in that room for years. Watching his daughter now, lost in her silent world but smiling, truly smiling, he finally saw her. He walked forward slowly. "May I dance with you?" he whispered. Isabella looked up. Her eyes filled with something pure and unspoken. She reached out, small fingers trembling, and took his hand. And for the first time in 8 years, father and daughter danced together. The staff watched from the doorway, tears streaming down their faces. Clara stepped back quietly, knowing her job was done. From that day forward, everything changed in the Santiago mansion. Alejandro hired therapists, opened his schedule, and learned how to truly see his daughter. Isabella began to blossom, not into what others expected, but into who she truly was. And every weekend, in that same ballroom, music played. Not for parties or power, but for love. The CEO's mansion was no longer silent. It was filled with laughter, soft songs, and the sound of a little girl dancing with her father. Sometimes, it only takes one person to see the beauty others overlook. Clara didn't heal Isabella. She simply gave her permission to be herself. And in doing so, she healed a father's heart, too. So remember this: kindness costs nothing, but it can change everything.